What's up, guys? Hey. Hey, I'm obviously not Jake or any of the other student pastors, but again, my name is Eric, and actually, can we give a round of applause to Kenzie and Benny for coming out here to do that? Man, it is intimidating being up here in front of friends, in front of their peers. It's really hard, and so Lord, we're so grateful for what God is doing in and through them always. But hey, show of hands, how many of you have siblings in here? How many of you, okay, pretty much everybody in here. Okay, and of those few, how many of you guys can remember a moment where you had bought like your favorite snack or your favorite drink and you put it in the counter or put it in the fridge and they were gone the next day because your sibling ate it? Oh, okay, some of you guys are like, dude, come on, I ate that. Yeah, we all have those moments. How many of you are that sibling? That takes, and okay, quite a few of you. Hey, would you guys be mad at me if I can admit right now that I am that sibling that eats and drinks anything that's in that fridge? I don't care whose it is. It's mine if it's in that fridge, that's for sure. But in this case, I am this sibling to my younger sister. If you didn't know, I have a younger sister, and she's 18 now. And she has this meal, like I was saying earlier, this girl dinner thing. For some reason, she's just brought this up, and she considers it a girl dinner. And apparently, like I said, it's like a cheap, unhealthy meal that like gets her through the day when she's like feeling down or she just kind of needs some extra energy. She brings this up, and what this girl dinner is, let me explain it to you. It's these bulldog noodles. Who knows these noodles? Okay, quite a few of you. Okay, cool. So she eats this bulldog noodles, and it's like this cheese, really hot, spicy one, and she cooks and boils an egg. She boils an egg and she throws it in there, and she even adds extra cheese in there. And it sounds gross, but let me tell you, she made it for me this one time, and I could not stop thinking about it since then. I promise you, the next day, she decided to go to work, and I was craving this meal. And I was craving the same meal that she had made for me. And she got to work, and she just had a rough day at work. She works at Cane's, I don't know. Yeah, not this Cane's, you won't find her here. But she works at Cane's, and she just had this really hard day at work. And so she calls me about it, and she's like, Eric, once I get home, I'm gonna eat the bulldog noodles that's in there. And I was like, you know what, me too. So I go in that pantry, and I look at it, and there's only one pack in there. And me being the sibling, like I said, that eats all the snacks and all the drinks that are in that fridge, I decided, hey, do I want to put my needs, my craving for this meal, before her needs, which was that she was having a hard day and she just wanted something small to cope with. So guess what I did? I decided to eat that bulldog noodles that was in there. And let me tell you what, the clapping is crazy. But let me tell you, I enjoyed every single spoonful of this noodles. And yes, I got in trouble. And yes, I got a mouthful. But hey, I was happy because I had my mouthful of these noodles. But anyways, I'm sure some of you can relate to some moments where you prioritize your needs over someone, or someone else prioritized their needs over yours. We want to always think about ourselves first in every situation. And this happens because we're naturally wired that way. We're naturally wired to think about me and look after me. I am the priority. We've been in this series called The Way, and we've been looking at biblical practices that Jesus calls us to live. And one of those practices is serving. And so most of you have already raised your hand. You've served before, or you understand what the concept of serving is. But today I want to really talk about what serving looks like. And in order for us to really serve others, we need to break the mentality of us first. We know that it's sometimes hard to place the needs of others before ourselves, above our own, because it's not how we're naturally wired. Let me give you some examples. Your parents are overwhelmed with chores. They're overwhelmed with things to do around the house, and you're hesitant to offer your help because it's the weekend. Hey, I want to go and do what I want to do. I've been working all week, or I've been at school all week, sports. I want to just take care of me. You're tired from a long day of school, from sports, from clubs, all these things that you get to do, and you're about to knock out for bed at the end of the day, and you get a text message from your friend saying, hey, I just got broken up with. Can I talk about it? And you say, you know what, I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore it and pretend like I didn't see that until the next morning. Some of you are like that, huh? I hear it. Your friend is having a birthday party and you already committed to going, and then it's the day of and you're like, oh, I don't know if I should go, and you start debating with yourself on going. But come on, man, it's their birthday. You're not going to go to that? That's crazy. Or let me really cut deep with this last one. Some of you have been putting aside your relationship with God, whether that's with serving, whether that's baptism, or if it's just really just coming to church. Some of you say, hey, I still have things I need to do before I can commit to Jesus. Hey, let's just start to call it like it is. Our selfish nature makes it hard to place others first. If we are always placing ourselves first, though, we start to neglect, and it's hard to step into a life that Jesus calls us into. Hey, but I'm not the first to tell you this. I'm not the first one. Jesus tells us this in Luke chapter 10, verse 27 to 35. And if you want to pull out your phones, get the Bible, go to this verse. Before we read it, Jesus has just finished sending out the 72 to go and do works around the town. They come back to him and they're like, hey, Jesus, we did all these things. We prayed for people. We casted out demons. We healed the sick. We're excited and we're rejoicing for it. And Jesus says something very interesting. He rebukes them and tells them, hey, you shouldn't rejoice in what you've done, but rejoice that your names are written in heaven. Very, very interesting. Then the experts start to come up to him and start to ask him questions about, hey, how do I even get into the kingdom of heaven? And this is when Luke begins. He answered, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind. And love your neighbor as yourself. You've answered correctly, Jesus replied. Do this and you will live. But he wanted to justify himself, so he asked Jesus, and who is my neighbor? And in reply, Jesus said, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him, bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey and brought him to an inn and took care of him. The next day, he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper and said, look after him, he said, and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have. Hey, in this parable, we see that there is this man who's on the side of the road, and he was beaten. They took his stuff. They robbed this guy, and he was just on the side of the road, half dead. And then we see these 2 people, a priest and a Levite. And a Levite is just somebody that had high honor also in the church, who was also considered pure. This priest decided, hey, I'm going to walk this way, and saw the dude and said, nah, I'm good. Decided to go on the other side. And then the Levite decided, hey, I'm going to go that way too. But then he saw the man and, I don't know about that one. I'm going to go this way. And then, very surprising, a Samaritan. And a Samaritan, you can say, were people who were outcasted. They weren't labeled to be holy like the priest or the Levite was. But the Samaritan didn't stop there. The Samaritan saw him and had compassion. The Bible says pity, which is, again, just another word for this deep, deep sense of compassion for the person. And so he went as far as to bandage the man up, pour oil and wine to help with the healing. And not only that, he decided, hey, I'm going to put this dude on my donkey. I'm going to end up taking him to this inn, and I'm going to pay for it 2 denarii, which was 2 days' wage. So think about 2 days when you decided to go and have a job, and you decided to work 2 days, and that salary just ended up going to this man for the rent. But on top of that, he said, you know what? Anything after that, put it on my tab. So Jesus, again, here is making points. He's making many points. But the one that I truly want to talk about, and in fact, it's what the priests and the Levites represented. They were so worried about themselves and what they look like. They were so worried about what image they gave off and whether they can be pure and impure. If they were to go up to this man, they would be considered impure. And so the Samaritan, though, decided, hey, I don't actually care about any of that. I just want to go out of my way to serve this man. And so what he did, this was a man, again, a Samaritan who needed God, that needed people, that needed some reassurance. And he decided to put all that aside and serve the man instead of himself. I love this quote from an author, C.S. Lewis, on humility. He says, humility is not thinking less of yourselves, but thinking of yourself less. And the Good Samaritan, he didn't lead with selfish mentality. He doesn't look to his own interests. However, he sees a need, looks to go out of his way and serve the man lying on the road. Jesus sums all this up by saying, hey, go and do likewise. So how can we do this? How can we go and do likewise based on what we just read here? Number one, we see that we need to have pity, that we need to have this great, deep compassion for people, and we need to go out of our way and put our needs aside to serve others. Number two, we need to be willing to sacrifice. Sacrifice our time, our resources. This man decided to sacrifice those things. On top of that, decided to sacrifice his safety. I mean, the guy just got robbed. Don't you think the guy should have just left and got out of that area if the guy just got robbed? But he decided, no, I'm actually going to put myself in danger too. And so I want to address the followers of Jesus in this room. If you say, hey, I am a follower of Jesus, I've decided to put all my feet forward and commit to following Jesus, I want to ask you, are you asking God to give you a heart of compassion towards people? Are you asking for God to break your heart for what breaks his? Are you willing to sacrifice things in order to serve others? Because, hey, Jesus did. In this story, we are the man who was robbed, that was stripped away of everything we have, that was beaten and left on the side of the road, half dead. And Jesus, he's our Good Samaritan. He was the one that decided to take steps towards us, have compassion on us, and did more than just save us, but he clothes us. He clothes us. And he gives us hope and a future that we can hold on to. And he sacrificed everything that he had in order that we may live. And he did this on the cross. And so, hey, in small groups tonight, I want to challenge you guys to truthfully talk about what it looks like to serve others. What it would look like for you to take some steps forward in your faith to decide, hey, I want to use the abilities, the gifts that God has given me, the feet that I can walk in, to serve others. And for you, it might be challenging. It might be challenging for you to think about others other than yourself. But whether that's serving your family better, serving here at the church, or serving in your communities, or serving in your schools with clubs. And then at the end of your group time, you're going to be allowed to pray and pray with each other and allow God to guide you on what it would look like for you to serve anywhere. Again, doesn't have to be here at the church. It could be in your communities, it could be in your clubs, it could be in your schools, it could be in any situation. We are challenging you to go out and serve. Can we do that? Yeah, let's go. All right, hey, we're going to go ahead and pray. Lord, thank you so much for this opportunity that we get to just be here and receive your message, Lord. Just want to pray for any student in this room that is hesitant about taking steps towards their faith, whether it is serving or whether it is getting in the water and being baptized or simply just coming to church or inviting a friend. Lord, we want to just continue to challenge and take ownership of this responsibility.